Hi, class. Hope you had a good week last week. In today's lecture, I'm going to cover three areas. First, I want to talk a little bit about topic selection. You guys just finished up the topic selection assignment, submitted your topic, so I want to make some comments about topics and really how to come up with a good topic for a speech. Also, this week, you're heading into the module on delivery, so just a couple comments there. And then next week, you'll be going into one of the more important modules. That's where we're going to learn how to put an outline together or how to structure an outline for a speech. So just a couple comments there as well. So we'll talk about topic selection, delivery techniques, and structure. And I'm going to try to keep this short. You know, I'm always thinking 10, 15 minutes. I know I end up getting closer to 20 and 30, but see if I can kind of streamline this and get through all the content that you will need to maximize your full potential as a student and as a speaker in this introduction to public speaking class. So first, let's talk a little bit about topics. And the key thing that I want you to understand with topics is it's always one of the starting points in the steps of speech preparation. In fact, the only step that should precede coming up with a topic is audience analysis. So anytime you're thinking about selecting a topic for a speech, you first want to have a good understanding of who it is that you're speaking to. Like with this class, you just finished up the audience analyses for this particular class, because for the speeches that you will do in this class, your class is your audience. So it's important that you come up with topics that you think will be of interest, that will be of significance, that will be of relevance to the folks that you're actually talking to. So when it comes to speech preparation, and anytime you're getting ready to give a presentation, it always starts with audience analysis. That's always the first step in speech preparation. Who am I speaking to? And then you want to use that information to come up with a topic for that particular audience. And as you learned in the module on topic selection, and some of you need to do a little better job of using the three criteria to pick a good topic for a particular speech. So when it comes to topic selection and trying to come up with a topic for an upcoming speech, you want to make sure that you have criteria in place or standards that you can use to help you select the best topic from a list of topics. And I think it's important anytime that you're preparing for a speech and you're trying to come up with a topic, it's always best if you first create a list of topics, and you can do that through brainstorming, and then select from that list the topic that you think will be the best topic for the speech. And the criteria you should use would involve three specific elements. Number one, you want to make sure that you pick a topic that you like, that you're interested in. It could be something that you're already really familiar with. And so you feel comfortable and confident because you have a good understanding of that information. Or it could be, you know, maybe you don't know a lot about the topic, but it's something that interests you that you want to learn more about. So as a speaker, you've got to be into your topic, because the more enthusiastic you are about your topic, the more the audience will be enthusiastic. You'll be able to engage the audience if it looks like you really are interested in your topic. So that's important. Get a topic that you like. Second, as I just mentioned before that, you want to also make sure that you come up with a topic that your audience will like. And so when you have a list of topics and you're going through that list, you're looking at the topics as far as, okay, which of these topics do I like the best? And which of these topics do I think the audience will like? The third criteria, and that or criterion that is really important, you also want to make sure that you can find information on the topic, especially while you're doing presentations in college, because most of the time you will be asked to actually include research and evidence to support the information that you come up with. And so I haven't graded them yet, but I took a look at some of the topics that you guys came up with in the brainstorming exercise. And there's a lot of good topics there, but there are some topics where they're just kind of too long and so wordy it would be tough to actually research the particular topic. So always keep that in mind. When it comes to topic selection, you also want to be able to come up with a topic that you'll be able to find research on. And typically, the shorter the phrasing of the topic, like if you can come up with a topic that is one word or just a short, simple phrase, then it makes it easier to research the information. So these big, long questions that you have as far as topics, and they're on personal aspects where it would be hard to find the information, typically those topics don't do well. So when it comes to topic selection, you want to make sure that when you're selecting a topic, first brainstorm so you have a list of potential topics, and then you want to go through and you want to use that 3-point criteria of which of the topics do I like the best, which of the topics do I think the audience will like best, and which of these topics will be easiest to find information on. And what I do is I just rank them 1 through 5 or however many topics I have on my list, 1 being the best. And so I rank them, okay, 1 through 5. Which of these topics do I like the best? 1 being the topic that I prefer the most. Same thing with the audience, and which of the topics do I think they will like the most? And then finally, I might even do a preliminary research search to help me find out for sure which of these topics have the most available information. And then I just rank them 3 times, 1 through 5, add up the 3 scores. Typically, the topic with the lowest score would be the best topic for that particular speech. So there's a little work involved in coming up with the topic. Good topics just don't magically fall from the sky. You've got to put some work in to ensure that you find a really good topic for a speech. And that's half the battle with public speaking. You get a good topic that you like, the audience likes. I can find lots of information, right? That's just going to lead for a better presentation all the way around. So topic selection, make sure that you do the work and you come up with a good topic for each speech. Also, too, when we get into the remaining speech assignments, you will find that you will have a critic speech, an informative speech, and a persuasive speech. And really, those are the 3 different kinds of speeches that you typically will do. A critique or a critic speech is where you're evaluating something. An informative speech is where you're teaching the audience about something. And with informative topics, you've got to make sure you understand the difference between an informative topic and a persuasive topic. Informative topics typically focus on a noun. It'll be a speech on a person, a place, or a thing. It could be the latest, coolest invention, or it could be an informative speech on toothpaste, right? But the key with the informative speech is those topics should not focus on a problem to be solved or an issue of controversy. So if you were going to give a speech on the topic of depression, that wouldn't work as an informative speech, because that would be a speech that would focus on how do we deal with a problem, right? Depression is not a good thing. It's not like, hey, can I get some more depression around here? No, it's something that we want to prevent. We want to be able to manage. So it wouldn't work as an informative topic. And then you can kind of guess with the last kind of speech, the persuasive speech, that's a speech where you're trying to move the audience to take action to solve a particular problem. Or it could be a speech on an issue of controversy where you take a stand on the issue of controversy and try to convince the audience that your stand, your take, your opinion on the issue of controversy is the correct opinion. So when it comes to topic selections for this class, you'll come up with a topic for a critic speech, and that's the next upcoming speech right after we finish the module on structure. And so since the critic speech is a speech where you are evaluating something, topics for that assignment can be a movie, TV show. Maybe you're going to evaluate or critique a show on Netflix, Amazon Prime. It could be a speech on a book. It could be a speech maybe we haven't been to many concerts lately, probably, but it could be a speech on a concert, a play, a musical. It could be a speech on a restaurant. It could be a speech on something where you are evaluating, right? You're telling us what you liked, what you didn't like, and why. With the informative speech, that's a speech where you're trying to enhance the understanding of the audience. You're trying to teach them something, but it should focus on a person, place, or thing, and shouldn't focus on a problem to be solved or an issue of controversy. And then the final type of speech that you'll learn in this class will be a persuasive speech, by far the most challenging speech, because you're actually trying to move the audience to take action or to agree with your take on an issue of controversy. And it's important that you understand the difference between each of those three topics, because what you'll learn in this class, you will use a different outline format for each of those three different topics. So there's a lot going on with topic selection. So you want to make sure that early on, when you're learning about public speaking, you really know how to come up with a good topic that works for you, that works for the audience, and that you're going to be able to find information on. And then the next thing that I wanted to talk about, just to kind of mention this week, you're going into the module on delivery. And this is a really important module for a lot of you, because with a lot of you in your introductory speeches, some of your goals, maybe just one of your goals, maybe all of your goals related to improving your speaking ability and your speaking techniques. And so that's what you're going to get in the module this week. So if you really want to enhance and improve as a speaker, make sure you read all the materials in the module. Make sure that you watch all the instructional videos, because you want to get all the information you can on how to deliver a speech effectively. And then it's just a matter of practicing and practicing until you can execute those techniques in your presentation. And also, real important, in the module on delivery, there's a whole page on how to practice your speech effectively. There are different ways to prepare and practice, so you want to make sure that if you're going to put the time into practice, you want to make sure that you're doing it effectively and efficiently. So you want to make sure that you really study hard, pay attention to all the materials available in this week's module, because that's where you're going to get a lot of the techniques that you're going to apply. And typically when you're giving a speech and you look at delivery techniques, you want to focus on eye contact, right? Where do I look? And we're finding that's completely different compared to speaking online, or if we're actually speaking to an audience. With eye contact, speaking remotely, eyes on the camera. We're just trying to create the impression that we're actually speaking to the audience in real time. But if you're actually speaking to the audience in person, you actually want to look at each of the people in the audience. And you would use what I call the roving technique, where you say a phrase to a person, phrase to a person, phrase to a person, and you're just roving back and forth through the audience as you're presenting your speech. In the classroom, you can actually use that eye contact. You're looking at each individual. If you're speaking to a large audience in an auditorium, obviously you can't get eye contact with everyone in the audience, but you create that impression by saying certain phrases and lines to one side of the audience, another one you'll move, say, to another position in the audience, and you're just kind of rove back and forth across the audience, creating the impression of looking right at the audience. So you'll learn about eye contact. You'll also learn about vocal variety, how to use your voice effectively. That's so important. Think of your voice like a musical instrument, and what you're going to do is to learn how to play it so you can best engage and maintain the attention of your audience. You'll also learn about gestures, movement, how to create and establish a proper speaking stance, how to eliminate vocal fillers, the importance of starting your speech with the first line of the speech. So lots of real important applicable information that you'll be able to learn from this week's module on the delivery. And then at the end of the week for your assignment, it's one of my favorite assignments, is your video monologue. And there, I just want you to take a selection of something. It could be a poem. It could be song lyrics. Although, if you do song lyrics, all right, and say if it's a rap song, don't rap it, right? In fact, The only time I ever really get a good understanding of what's being said in a rap song is when somebody does it as a monologue and they completely slow it down. They read it more like a poem, so they break away from the rhythmic pattern that they're used to with the song. It kind of gives a whole new sense of meaning, gives a nice edge to the information you're presenting if you're doing a rap song, but you want it to be nice and slow. But essentially what you're doing with the video monologues, and it could be a monologue, a scene from a play, a scene from a movie. It could be something maybe that you've written, right? Cool. You just want 1 minute where you're going to perform whatever monologue that you select. And the thing that I really want to see you do in the monologue is to really use your vocal skills, lots of vocal variety and lots of energy. If you do a really good job on the video monologues, make me tell you to calm down. Oh, it's a little bit overboard there. You're really going for it. So you want to get out of yourself, out of your comfort level, and you want to perform whatever selection it is that you're performing for the video monologue. So really what I'm saying, get into it. Let's see you really bring these selections to life. And in speech and debate tournaments, they actually have an event. It's called the Oral Interpretation of Literature. And essentially with that particular event, it's where students will take either one selection of literature or maybe a couple different selections, and then they'll perform it by reading it in a way that brings the literature to life. It's pretty different. It's pretty cool to see. But essentially, that's what you're doing with this, with the video monologues. It's actually an oral interpretation of literature. Do your best. Have fun with it. Get out of your shell. Lots of energy and just go for it 100%. Right? And then we'll kind of take that and then kind of dial it back and then get you ready for delivering the next upcoming speeches. So lots of work this week on delivery, and the key to having a well-delivered speech is to practice. And then next week we'll be going into another, I shouldn't say another important module. They're all important and you're learning things in all of the modules, but the module after this week's on delivery, that will be the module on structure, where we start learning how to put an outline together for a speech. We're going to start with the next with the next speech assignment, which will be the critic speech. Make sure you watch the instructional video in that module, because at the very end, I basically show you how to answer the quiz in that module and to get a perfect score. And that quiz is a little bit different. It's just one question. And I essentially ask you to create an outline for a critic speech. And I give you a couple different topics that you can go on. And if you don't like, I think I asked you, choose McDonald's, Wendy's, In-N-Out, and give a critic speech just following the structural format. But if you want to come up with a different topic, you can do so as well. But make sure you watch the instructional video in the module on structure, because at the very end of that video, I'll show you how to answer that quiz so that you get a perfect score. All right? Have a good week, you guys. Let's stay safe. Let's keep working hard. I also know that there could be some power shutoffs this week for some of you. So if that happens, look, I'm not going to, make it difficult for you and penalize late work. So if that happens, just when power comes back on, get your work in as soon as you can. All right? All good in the neighborhood. You guys take care. We out.